In this video, we're going to be talking about Maven Archetypes. So an archetype is basically a project template. The Maven website defines an archetype as a original pattern or model from which all other things of the same kind are made. Now, Apache Maven provides a variety of standard archetypes to serve as starters for common Java projects. The Maven archetypes are also available from a variety of third parties, or you can even make your own archetype. And the ones supplied by Maven are getting rather dated. They actually have one for J2EE. So J2EE was retired roughly a decade ago. And I like to warn new developers, if they see an employer advertising for J2EE, it's probably a good idea to run away, because if they are actually using J2EE, that is an environment that is rather static and is a good place for careers to go to die rather than to thrive. So at this point, we are going to do a demo. I'm going to toggle over and we'll take a look at the Apache website to see some of the standard archetypes. And then I'm going to show you how to start a Maven project, both from the command line and also from within IntelliJ. So we'll take a look at using these archetypes. This is the Apache Maven website, and you can see the archetypes provided by Maven, a variety of them. And you can see the second one there is that J2EE one. We definitely don't want to be using that one. And what I'm going to do is take a quick look. Let's just take a look at the simple one. You can see there's a variety of them, even for like Maven plugins or plugin sites. We just want to be looking at a very simple example here. And you can see this doesn't do terribly a lot. You get a project, a POM, a main, and a test directory. And down here, this is the command that is used to generate it. So it's Maven archetype : generate. And what this syntax here is, just a refresher. Archetype is the name of the plugin that is being executed, and generate is the goal. And then the -d are parameters that we are passing to it. So I am just going to copy this directly to my clipboard, and I'm going to toggle over to the command line, and I'm in an empty directory. And this is just a temporary directory that I set up. And I'm not going to save this. I'm not going to put this into GitHub, because it's really kind of pointless to do so, because this is something that you can generate on your own by running this exact command here. So just run this command, and we can see that it's going through and it's going to build the project in interactive mode. It's asking me for a group ID. So I use the refers to main. I'm just going to call that example project, and I'm going to accept the snapshot version and also accept the package as well. And now it's asking me if I want to confirm that. I'm going to say yes. And we can see that we have a build success. Now we can see that the example project has been created. If I cd into there, we can see that I have the POM and then the standard directory layout. You can see I have Maven site test, back up. And let's take a look at the Maven POM. I'm doing VI. And if you're on a Windows machine, you can examine the POM with something like Notepad. And here we have the standard POM. You can see this is all generated from Maven through the archetype. You can see that they have some notes in here. And we are on the bleeding edge of Java 1.7 according to the archetype. And also JUnit 3A1. So like I said, some of these are rather dated as far as the versions and whatnot they come up with. So, but they are a good way to start off with a Maven project. There's a variety of them. And I'm going to toggle over to IntelliJ now and take a look at doing the same thing directly from the IntelliJ IDE. And in IntelliJ, I can come up to File and say New Project. And now you can see here IntelliJ has a whole list. So it brings in a lot of the third-party archetypes. And some of them are pretty interesting, especially like some of the Apache Camel stuff that could be interesting to explore. My Faces, I haven't used My Faces for years. I can use Gmaven, Gmaven Basics. And I am just going to take a very generic one. I'm not just taking a look through here. Tapestry Struts. Actually, talked to a student that's near a shop using Struts 1. It's like people are still using Struts 1. I used that a long time ago. So I'm going to grab the Maven site symbol. I think that's the same one that we did before. So I had to click create archetype, and I'm going to say Maven site symbol. Say next. And I'm going to accept the snapshot. Then I'm just going to click next there. And we can see here, it's asking me for my home directory. I'm going to use the bundled Maven. And I'm going to accept all these properties here. And in this case here, so this is the project that I created from the command line. I created a directory called Maven temp or MVM temp. And I'm just going to say this. And make sure that I don't conflict example project, misspelled example. So I am going to let that misspelling go because I'm only going to create this temporarily. And of course, it opens up in my other window. And I'm going to click on Enable Auto Import for IntelliJ. And now we can see that Maven has completed and it created the project for us. We can expand this out a little bit easier. So I grabbed a simple site this time. So I don't think I grabbed the right one. Didn't grab the same one, but now we have Markdown. So this is an example website project. And we could build a Maven website through this. So the different archetypes have different templates. So if you're building a JEE, not J2EE, but a JEE application, it would be different from the site application versus a simple Java application that we did. So each one of these archetypes is going to be a little bit different. You can even build a custom archetype and check that into your repository. If you're working at a company that has a standard template for a variety of things that you need in a project, you could use an archetype where you're generating, let's say, small microservices, and they're all kind of cookie cutter. An archetype would be an ideal thing to use for that. So it's being a Spring developer, I don't use this functionality very often. Usually when I start a project, I'm going to use a Spring initializer, and we will show an example of that coming up once we get to the Spring content of this course. But if you're in a more traditional shop, we're using hopefully not J2EE, but if you're using JEE, this may be something that you may look at using. Also for Apache Camel, some of the more older Java technologies, there's a lot of archetypes there that will help you create a project and get that project going quickly using Maven.